my last line in the sand is at 1,000. So, all right, welcome to Talking Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to go through Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners, do my daily update, and I'm also going to talk about the stock market a little bit. There were records set all over the place today, so I want to talk about those. Most of them were not good, but we got to take a look at them to see where we might be going. So, we talk about Bitcoin and the miners all the time on this channel. If that's content that you are interested in, or if you are new to the channel, please remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if everyone would do us a big favor and smash the like button, I would appreciate it a lot. Lastly, you will see a link in our pinned comment to our free Discord. So we talk mostly about the Bitcoin miners on the Discord, but we do bring up other stocks as well. So again, it's free. You're welcome to join us over there. We'd love to have you. Later, we're going to get to some indicators that are hitting their all-time lows. So this is a first ever. There's several of these that are a first ever all time for Bitcoin. I want to look at those today. First, I want to take a quick look at the stock market. Then we'll take a look at the Bitcoin mining big board. And then let's go through Bitcoin, because obviously Bitcoin is trading very low right now. So we want to take a look and see what might be next. All right, so first we'll take a quick look at the market, and you'll see across the board, this was a very bad day. The S&P 500 was down 3.25%. The Dow was down 2.42%. The NASDAQ was down 4.08%. And the Russell 2000 was down 4.7%. All four of those hit their 52-week low. A lot of those hit like an 18-month low. So we are deep in a bear market. The Russell 2000 and the NASDAQ are way over 30% down at this point. So 20% is a bear market. So we're deep into it right now. And I know it feels like an endless, bottomless pit. But I'm going to flip back over to Bitcoin, and I'm going to show you some signals that, yes, you're probably sick of hearing me say it. But once again, I do believe that we are at or near the bottom. So I'm not calling a bottom. I've learned my lesson, but when we look at the charts, I think you're going to see what I'm looking at, and there's some strong indications that we may be able to bounce around and hold where we are. If not, I will talk about what some of our next lines of support are. Okay, so if we look at the Bitcoin miner big board, you're going to see it is almost all red. As usual, there are two contrarians. CleanSpark was up 0.9% today, and Mawson was up 2.96% today. So they were in the green. The rest of this board was in the red, and it was deep in the red. It looks like DigiHost was down the most. They were down 12% on the day. Cypher was down 11% on the day. Bitfarms was down 9% on the day. There were a lot of 6s, 7s, 8s, so a very red day. I'll let you guys look at the board and you can find your miner. Once again, most of these miners are at or near their 52-week low, and some of them are at or near their all-time low. So we keep bouncing off the bottom. Every time it looks like the miners are making a little run, bam, they go right back down to their lows. And that happened again today. Now, let's go take a look at the Bitcoin chart, because we are very low right now. We are pushing $20,000. Currently, we're trading at $20,690. This is Bitcoin on the 15-minute time frame. So I'm just going to take a quick look at this, because I want to show you 4.5 years ago, this line goes back, we got to just under $20,000. So as I've been saying on the channel, to me, this is our ultimate last resort line of support. Bitcoin has never crossed back below its previous bull market peak. So 4.5 years ago, we were at almost $20,000. That is my last line of support within reason. I will talk about some spots we may go to if that breaks. So far, we've come close to that, but we have not bounced off of it. So I'm not sure we've even really tested this line yet, but we are very close. And obviously, these are numbers I never expected. I will tell you, there was a very strong line of support at 33,000. That held for quite some time. I thought we were going to hold that line. We didn't. There was an even stronger line at 28,800. That line had held for 18 months. So we tested that about 10 or 15 times. It looked like that was going to hold. I thought that line would hold, and that line didn't hold. So this is my last line. This is not just hopium, and this is not just a wish and a prayer. I think that you're going to see there's some indicators that are saying we are very oversold. Now, could we bounce off of this, have a rebound, and then test some lower numbers later? I guess, right? There's just no telling where a bottom is, and clearly I'm sick of calling a bottom. So let's just take a look at what's going on. So yesterday afternoon, we got down to 20,220. That is the lowest we've been in years. Just almost right now as we're speaking, we got down as low as 20,474. So you can see a big volume push right here when we got down to 20,200. Since then, we have not had high volumes. So I'm not sure we've had an actual test of this line of support yet. So that always concerns me, especially when we come close and miss It seems like it's almost inevitable that sometime over the next couple of weeks we end up testing that line. And ultimately, with every single line of support for the last 7 months, we have ultimately not only tested them, but broken through them to the downside. This is where Bitcoin closed when the equity markets closed yesterday, and that was at $21,587. So we're about $800 below that right now. I'm going to move right to Bitcoin on the daily time frame because I did add a new indicator, and I want to thank a viewer who mentioned in one of the comments, one of the common indicators used to track Bitcoin is the 200-week moving average. So I have not analyzed that yet, and there is a reason, so I'm going to show you what that reason is. This has been an extremely powerful line of support. There have only been 3 other times ever that we've gone below this line of support. So this has been historically an incredibly good line of support for Bitcoin. And 2 of the 3 times that we hit it, we crossed it and had a hard push down. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen today, but that is going to be the next line of support that I'm going to look at. So really most of the last 3 days we've spent below this line of support. Okay, so the last time we tested this 200-week moving average, you'll see that this was March of 2020. Okay, so we all remember what happened in March of 2020. So we tested the 200-week moving average, but I want to zoom in because, it looks like this held perfectly and it was an outstanding line of support, but I'm going to zoom in a little bit more and show you what my concern is. So there was only one monthly candle that candle wicked below this, and in each of these instances, we've never had more than 1 in a row monthly candles candle wick below this. But you'll see in March of 2020, once we broke this line, we had a 30% move to the downside. So to me, that's our next line of support. Now, I'm hoping we don't do that because that would be in conflict with our 4.5-year line of support at 20,000. So we'll go back later and measure what that line of support would be. But you can see in March of 2020, when we did break this moving average, it looks like just a little candle wick, but the truth is that was a 30% drop. This was January, February of 2019. So you see we came down and touched this line of support, and this time it held perfectly. We did not have a 30% move to the downside. We bounced right off of this. The other side of this equation is once we bounce off of this line, and again, this is only the 4th time we've ever touched it. So in 2019, we promptly had a 300% move to the upside after we hit this line. So this is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months later. So over the next 5 months, this went parabolic. You'll see here in March of 2020, obviously, once we hit this line, even if I just do the next 6 months, that was a 369% increase once we hit that line. And actually, this was like a 1,300% increase. This was really the catalyst to the run up to the top. So the last 2 times in a row, we can see when we hit this line, we had a massive, massive bounce off of it, over 300%. So let's look at, there's only one other time we've ever hit this line. So you have to go all the way back to this candle right here in January of 2015. And again, when you look at this zoomed out, it looks like this is a perfect line of support and it held exactly, but I'm gonna zoom in. You'll see when I zoom in, this was another 30% move to the downside. Now it was 1 candle wick, 1 month, but once we broke through this 200-week moving average, we did break to the downside by 30%. So 2 of the 3 times that this has happened, we've had 30% more pain to go. One time it held. So, 3 times is a very small sample. We can't really draw any definitive conclusions from these, but one of 2 things so far, one of 2 things has happened. This line has either held or we've gone 30% below. Now, unfortunately, this is the 4th time it's happened. We've already gone below this line. So I'm hoping this candle wick comes back up and we don't have this 30% downside, but let's go take a look at what that would be. Okay, so if I go back to the daily time frame, we have our 200-week moving average on there. If I go 30% below that, that would be down to about 15,600. So to me, that is the next line of support. If we don't hold at 20,000, I don't see anything in between 20,000 and 15,600. You guys can drop in the comments if there's another line of support. I know there's the 300-week moving average. That is something we have rarely ever interacted with Bitcoin. I don't know of another indicator that is in the middle. So for me, I think we hold 20,000, but if we don't, then I'm looking at 15,600. I will give you just a heads up. I won't even really talk about it, but the next line below that is somewhere around 10,500, and that would be the 85% decrease from our all-time high. A lot of crypto winter people think that we really haven't confirmed a low until we've gone down 85%. I am not in that group. I don't think that's going to happen. However, we have crushed every line of support so far. So my last line in the sand is at 20,000. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Now I want to show you the indicator that's showing me that we are drastically drastically oversold. Okay, before I get to that, I'm going to show you the fear and greed index, where this is the second worst number we've ever had on the fear and greed index. And you can see this is 2 days in a row now. We are at 7. We've been in extreme fear for months. This is a brutal run. There's no doubt about it. This is back-to-back days at 7, and there's only been one day in the history of this index that we've ever been lower than 7. The only other day in history that's ever been below that was August 22nd, 2019. We got down to 5. It is exceptionally rare that we get below 10 on this. 10 is kind of the benchmark for extreme fear. So the fact that we've been hitting 9s and 8s and now 2 days in a row we hit a 7 is definitely an indication that we are at max fear right now. But that's not the indicator that I wanted to show you. We have had one day in history that was lower than what's happening today. However, I want to look at the RSI. So on the daily RSI, you can see we are very oversold here. We're down to 22.9. So we have been in this territory before. So on the daily time frame, this is not historic. However, this is the RSI on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin. This is currently sitting at 26.24. That is an all-time record. This is the lowest number on the weekly RSI that Bitcoin has ever been since it's come into existence. So this is an all-time record low. We are more oversold today than we have ever been any day in the history of Bitcoin. So does that mean that we're at the bottom for a fact? No, we could always go lower, but it is definitely a very strong indicator that we are sitting in a very oversold territory. We are due for at least a relief rally. We've never seen this number before. I'm zoomed all the way out here so you can see the whole entire chart. You can see this is where we are today. Back in 2018, we hit a low number, but nowhere near as low as we are today. Back in 2015, we hit a low number, but nowhere near as low as we are today. This is the all-time record low by far. So could it go lower? Yes, but this is one of the things that leads me to believe we're very near a bottom and we are not due. We are way overdue for at least a relief rally. This line of support goes all the way back to December of 2017. If we were to break below 20,000, it would be the first time in history that Bitcoin went below its previous high from the previous bull market. So that could happen. There's always a first for everything. But the key thing I will be looking at is, do we hold 20,000? That is everything. Again, that is my last line of support. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. I'm not going to look at any of the Bitcoin miners. I will do a special one tomorrow on all the Bitcoin miners. I've got a new chart that I have never shown anybody before. So I'm going to do a video on that tomorrow, and it's going to go through all the Bitcoin miners. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. So if you made it this far, remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.